Philadelphia News, team of my heart. You saw it happen. The moment Jared McCain went down, you felt the air get sucked out of the arena. It was one of those instances where time stops for a second, everyone holding their breath, wondering just how bad it might be. McCain, who had been hustling hard all game, suddenly on the floor, unable to get back up. The energy changed. When a young player like him, full of promise, takes a hit like that, you can't help but feel the concern deep in your chest. The Sixers medical staff rushed to his side, and it wasn't long before the situation started to look serious. You could see it on his face, the pain, the struggle. He eventually got up with help, but the news that followed didn't make you feel any better. Ruling him out for the rest of the game wasn't a surprise. What was unsettling was hearing that he had to go to the hospital. You've watched these players fight through injuries before, but this was different. McCain, clearly in a lot of discomfort, getting rushed out for more tests left you worried. Nick Nurse didn't sugarcoat it either. In the post-game, you could see the concern etched on his face. "It was rough," he said. "Never quite seen one like that before." Those aren't words that make you feel any sense of relief. The kind of hit that leaves a guy struggling to breathe, that's not something you forget easily. You've been following the Sixers long enough to know that any mention of a hospital trip means the situation's serious. So, when you hear that McCain was getting checked out for a potential concussion, you're already thinking about worst-case scenarios. But here's the thing, you know how resilient this team can be. And even though Jared McCain's still early in his career, he's shown flashes of that same toughness. You've seen him grind through minutes, knock down key shots, and make plays that help the Sixers close out tough wins. That kind of grit doesn't just disappear because of one bad fall. When Thursday morning rolls around, you finally hear some better news. McCain's been discharged from the hospital, and though the Sixers are keeping their cards close, you start to feel a bit of hope. He's home, resting, and waiting for more evaluations. Sure, there's still that uneasy feeling until you get a solid diagnosis, but at least you know he's out of the hospital. The report from Chris Haynes brings a bit more clarity. Pulmonary contusions, he says. It's not a term you hear every day, but you know enough to understand that it could have been much worse. There's no timeline yet, but you hear that the Sixers are optimistic. That optimism is the first glimmer of light since that fall. You start to believe maybe, just maybe, he dodged something major here. Jared McCain had put in nearly 23 minutes before that injury, fighting hard, contributing on both ends. You remember those 9 points he knocked down, the rebounds he grabbed, and the plays he made. And now, you just want to see him get back on the floor and continue that momentum. The Sixers' victory over the Nets, a 117-95 blowout, was a team effort, and McCain played his part. But right now, that win feels secondary to his recovery. You know this city. You know the passion of the fans. And as much as every win matters, when a young player's health is on the line, you can't help but focus on that. You're waiting for the next update, hoping it's the one that tells you McCain's going to be back out there soon. You can't help but wonder, what's next for Jared McCain? You've seen young players go through injuries before, but every case is different. It's tough because you know how much potential this kid has, and when he took that hard fall, it felt like a punch to the gut. As a fan, you've already started thinking about how long he might be out, whether he'll be the same player when he comes back. Will he still have that same spark, that hunger, that edge you saw in his game? You know the Sixers have a solid medical staff, but the uncertainty gnaws at you. It's hard to shake that worry, especially with all the talk about pulmonary contusions. You might not be a doctor, but you understand the seriousness of it. When you hear about lung injuries, your mind starts racing. Will he be back in a few weeks, or are we talking months? It's the kind of thing that keeps you refreshing your feed, waiting for the next update, hoping for the best but bracing for whatever might come. It's moments like these that test your patience as a fan. You want answers, but they're not coming fast enough. And yet, you can't stop thinking about McCain's future with the team. How does this setback affect his role moving forward? The Sixers have a deep roster, and guys are always hungry to prove themselves. While McCain's out, someone else will step up, and that's just the nature of the game. But deep down, you know you're rooting for him to come back stronger than ever. You've seen how injuries can either break a player or become the fuel that drives them to reach new heights. Tyrese Maxey went through his share of challenges early on, and now he's one of the team's brightest stars. Could this be a turning point for McCain? You're hoping this setback is just a minor bump in the road, something he can overcome with the same determination he's shown on the court. It's not just about how long he's out, it's about how he comes back. As a Sixers fan, you've witnessed this team battle through adversity time and time again. From key players being sidelined to unexpected trades, nothing ever seems to come easy. But that's part of why you love this team, right? It's the fight, the resilience, the way they bounce back from tough situations. And McCain fits that mold perfectly. He's a fighter. You can see it in the way he plays, in the way he hustles for every loose ball, in the way he pushes himself even when the odds aren't in his favor. So, now the question is, what do you think happens next? Do you see McCain coming back stronger, ready to take on the next challenge? Or do you fear this injury might set him back in ways we can't yet predict? This is where you, as a fan, come in. You know these moments can define a player's career, and your support can make a difference. The Sixers are going to need every ounce of energy from the fans, especially with a tough season ahead. If you're as eager as I am to see McCain bounce back and reclaim his spot on this team, hit that subscribe button and make sure you don't miss any updates. Turn on notifications, so you're the first to know how the Sixers handle this situation. This season's just getting started, and there's a lot more to come. Let's stay locked in together.